Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the fabulous Camel Chat. Joe Rogan actually emailed me and said, mate, you're just too sensational, and your guests. And today, no exception. We are blessed. We have got a mate from New Zealand. And so automatically, him and I are kindred spirits. We are brothers from another mother. Because New Zealand, for those in the world don't understand, it's like across the road from Australia. We speak the same language. The only difference is they say fish and chips and we say fish and chips. But apart from that, we are brothers. But that's not the only reason Alex Mann is on the line with me today. The number one reason is this guy is a dynamo. He's of the same vintage as me. So we laugh about things we're not allowed to laugh about anymore, and we talk about things we're not allowed to talk about anymore. We're not politically correct, and we have no such thing as woke. We're always asleep, I think. But anyway, it's good. But the other thing about Alex, he's got a fantastic agency, which is called Big Boy Websites, that he's built from scratch. But why I want to talk to him is, like all of us, he went through COVID, but he went through it in New Zealand. Now, if you don't know, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, she basically locked New Zealand down. It was off limits to the rest of the world, and it was tough for everyone to do business then. So he's got some stories about doing it hard, doing it tough, and coming back out on the other side, which he has now. He's a fabulous bloke, great stories. He's the 8-time winner of the Tour de Backyard without steroids. And he's a great man. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Alex Mann, come on down, son.
Thanks so much, Shane. You know, how can I live up to an introduction like that? My goodness, you know, and it is so right. We are good brothers, really. You know, yes, you're across the ditch on that little Western island, and we look down at you as, you know, I won't mention anything about sport today. We don't want to go there.
There's no sport today, mate. My demeanour will change dramatically if you mention rugby or cricket.
Yes, exactly.
Let's just get that clear now. Yeah. Right? Although I am Rule Britannia, up the All Blacks. Come what they, Carl. If you talk about All Blacks, I've got nothing but respect and I bow. But Australian cricket, unfortunately, for those that don't know, we got flogged by New Zealand the other day. That's as far as we go. But all the other stuff I said about you is true. And if the whole interview is hopeless, doesn't matter, because the first 5 minutes was sensational.
Yeah, they've got it.
Now, where we start is I want to know what I call the pimples and puberty story, right? Which is the early days of you, where you came from, school, family background, just a quick 5-minute elevator pitch of the early days of Alex.
Okay, well, look, I was born in the early 60s, rural New Zealand, and where we had, you know, my school was probably about, 20 k's away, so we had to bus. So I was brought up as a farmer's son, loved it.
Wow.
It was fantastic. You know, I just built go-karts, huts, played on motorbikes, tractors. And so when I left school and I worked for my father until I decided I didn't want to be a farmer. And then I became a boilermaker by trade.
Wow.
And that was in the early 80s. So, yeah, I did my trade as a boilermaker. That's where I learnt my colourful language. Has come from my trade days. And so that was through the 80s. Then in the 90s, just a little over 30 years ago, I met my beautiful wife of today, and we ended up in Christchurch, where we still live today. We've been here for over 30 years, and I got into marketing very early in the 90s, and I started selling advertising for a local newspaper here called the Christchurch Star.
Wow.
So interestingly, you know, when I started there, it was pre-internet, pre-computer days. The graphic designers were actually truly artists, and they would be in the art studio with drawing boards, and they would be drawing ads for clients. And I can remember cut and paste when it was literally cut and paste.
Unbelievable.
So one of the things, you know, I very quickly, I really very quickly enjoyed doing the advertising sales, and I really enjoyed marketing. It was like, boom, I found what I really, really enjoyed. What else I really found I enjoyed was actually putting the ads together for my clients.
Wow.
And so again, you know, we used to have those little things. What did you they're not GIFs. What were they? Sort of, you cut out all the little icons and you'd cut them out with surgical knife, and then you'd literally glue them onto the ad, and then
Wow.
you'd write the text. So there was computers and a printer. You know, there was one computer in the sales office, and I would go and print out the text. I would then glue that onto the ad, and then I would make my own clients' ads. And the reason why, because I felt like what we called the Mac operators of those days.
Yeah.
They would make a hash of it. So that was the 90s. I then went as a sales manager for student radio, selling advertising for them, which was just it was a blast. So I did radio. I got headhunted, and I went and worked for a local TV station as the sales manager there and it was a music TV station. And those are like MTV and local. And then I came out, I did a lot of different things. And then about 2000, and I was in my mid-30s, I decided marketing was it. I wanted to pursue a career in marketing. I went back to university, got my management degree and a major in marketing, and I set to. And that was, I came out, in fact, the day I graduated was the day I had my very first child, and she's going to be turning 20 in another week. So I was sitting in a lecture theatre by myself, sitting my very last exam while my wife was at home pregnant in labor. And so that was a big day, crazy day.
Did you get to the birth?
Yeah, got to the birth, got home after the exam, and then, you know, we lit some candles and had all the nice, it was lovely. Yeah, first time, you know. And,
unbelievable. So your graduation present was your daughter?
It was amazing. Yeah. So here I was a new graduate looking for jobs. I worked for a couple of ad agencies, and to be really like, can I use some of my colorful language? I just found them really not organized. They were a bit shit, basically.
Yeah.
They weren't particularly strategic. Their creative was just full of lots of hot, ideas. They were just, made up. There was very little evidence based, and I was a little bit frustrated. I love creativity. Yeah. Absolutely love it. It's very, very important. And when you get creativity, it's fantastic. But man, it's got to be based in some semblance of reality. Yeah. So I worked for that, and then I started consulting around 2005. And then I bought a printing company, a printing franchise, and I had that for a couple of years. And then I did some more consulting, and I had a small ad agency. And then 8 years ago, I started Big Boy Websites. And today, actually, we rebranded about a year ago, Shane, and we now call ourselves, we're now upmarket. We're now Big Boy Digital, or Big Boy Digital Marketing. Yeah, exactly. You see, we're more posh now, and so it just means that we can justify charging more.
So it was 8 years ago.
8 years ago, so I started Big Boy Websites, and still there today. Several hundred clients later, we have a small team. We love what we do, and so yeah, sorry, I probably took longer than 5. In fact,
it's normal. No, I always say 5 because I know it's going to go 10, right? So I've got to keep people in check. But already, if we look at your story, farmer, son.
Yeah.
So that explains a lot about you as a bloke, right? Because rural people are totally different to metropolitan people, right? The fact that you sold advertising, bloody hard yakka selling advertising, because back in the day, there was no computers, there was no fax machines, there was nothing. And there was a lot of door-to-door, a lot of cold calling, and trying to extort money out of people for something that you're saying it's going to work and 1 million people are going to see it, and your own creative you had to do, because you had to present them a mock-up. right?
Yeah.
Of exactly how this thing's going to look. And you're not going to go to all the expense of painting it and polishing it and all that sort of stuff. So it is a bit, like the kindergarten program of cut and paste.
Yeah,
away you go from there. So you've got this advantage, and we'll get to this other bit later, but you've got this advantage that not many have today. And that is, we have come from the hardest of yards into the business we are. So you open up Big Boy. What was the first website CMS you used?
You know what, the story of that was interesting. So what I had a marketing company. It was called Mann Marketing, and I just happened to get into the web design world. And I was consulting, so doing marketing consult. So we're doing a lot of research. I do a lot of research with the clients. We put together kind of quite actionable sort of marketing plans. Part of that was building websites. And so I had this one client that needed a website, and they said, we want to use this web design company we've used before. And I was kind of going, oh, I've got my own favorite one, but yeah, okay. So anyway, it ended up, they had a really, really interesting model. And their model was that they charged no money up front, and then they just did a monthly subscription. And what they did is that they would take the client's copy and they would build, 2 or 3 pages, give the website back, and the client would, they'd give them a back-end editor. Now, so this was probably 10 years ago.
Right.
And what happened in the end, I got into bed with them quite deeply. In fact, I moved into their office with them. I still had my own consultancy. I think I gave them about 20 websites to build, because it was 10 years ago to build a website was quite an expensive exercise.
Yeah, it was.
And it was really, and you need to be highly specialized to do it. And most business owners didn't want to do it. So I said to the guys, I said, okay, they came back to me and they said, Alex, we love working with. And I said, I love you guys as well. And they said, well, we can give you a little bit of profit share on each website we do. And I said, yeah, that'd be fantastic. And I said, actually, I want some equity. I think you've got a great idea, and I want to run with it with you guys, and I'm a marketer and I've got energy, and I'll get out there. Anyway, they, in their short-sightedness, mucked around, and they, in the end, they said no to me. And so it just left me with, well, heck, I really want to do something. Well, anyway, when they delivered the news that they didn't want to work with me, to get as a business owner, they still wanted me to bring business to them, and they didn't want to share. In fact, I even went back to them. I said, I only want less than 10% of the company. I've got 20 grand cash. I'll give you that cash for just a very, very small bit. I don't want a seat on the board. I just want to know that I'm going to build long-term a little bit of equity. I'm not greedy. And so they rejected that, and that's what they rejected. So anyway, I was kind of like, I was a bit sort of miffed. I really liked the guys. They were really good guys, still are. So anyway, that night I went home, and there was a company called Weebly. You may have heard of it. They are sort of like Wix. And I built a few of my mates' websites, my not-for-profit friends and my cycle club, website. And they emailed me and said, we've got a white label back end that you can design websites, give your clients a really good front end that they can edit their own websites, and it'll be all branded your company. And I went, oh my goodness. I could do this.
How long has this been going on?
Well, they just did it. They'd only just released this thing.
That was Weebly.
Weebly, and this would have been 8 years ago. And I went, I'm in. So anyway, and I thought, right, well, I'm going to start. So I went to the guys and I said, sorry guys, but I'm off doing my own thing.
So yeah.
And see ya. And I not nasty, but man, they didn't like me. And that's a shame, because they're nice guys. I have nothing against them. But anyway, I moved on, and I was sitting there and I was going, what am I going to call this thing? And I wanted to build websites, not for new businesses, but for the next one. I wanted to, you've already got a crappy website and you need a better one. So my daughter, the one that's turning 20, and she would have been, I don't know, 10 or something like that, 10,
Mm.
12. She came upstairs, heard me talking about this concept, and she said, "Oh, Dad, that's like websites for big boys." And Joey and me looked at each other. We said, "Well, in the vacuum of anything else,
Done.
big boy websites it is."
Oh, I
And-
love that. That is a great story.
And that was 8 years ago.
Unbelievable.
So yeah. So how
So
much
that's
more?
how you ended up with Weebly. You ended
And
up
that's
basically.
Weebly, yeah. And so we started with Weebly, and that was. And do you know what? I've still got clients that still pay me $100 a month, and they've still got their Weebly sites that I built in that first year or so. And I used to do everything.
It's crazy, isn't it? I discovered the other day we had one website out of Malaysia that we built 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's been paying us every month for 9 years. We've asked him, would you like us to upgrade? No, I'm happy with the way it is. Right. And then finally he caved in about a month ago, and we did a whole total refresh of his website. And he said, how much do you want me to pay you? And I went, you've got to be joking, mate. You paid me money every month for 9 years. The least I can do is sexy it up for you. So, but even this morning, CM, one of our digital marketing heads, he hit me with a website we built in 2014. It's never been changed. He's happy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get to the next one, which is normally I ask good times, bad times, but this is one of the interesting things I had. So if we work it out, COVID was about 2.5 years ago. It started.
Yes.
So here you are at big boy websites, right? And you've got a few runs on the board. You're making a nice monthly income. Everything is doing well. The world is nice. And all of a sudden, some people start coughing in Christchurch. And then some people went to a lot of people. And in a bee's dick, as we say, notice shutdown time.
Yes.
What did you think? You know, I mean, did you go, oh shit?
Yeah, well, we did. No, we were fortunate. We had hundreds of websites that were giving us, anywhere between $100 and $300 a month revenue. So I wasn't panicking, when it came to that, right, that's it, we're all home, we're locked down for the next 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it was. We just kept going. We're fortunate, we work in the digital world, we all just went home. And to be really honest, that was the last time and that was 2019. We haven't worked in the office since.
You haven't gone back?
No. Well, we've gone back and we've had days, but we don't work in the office every day.
Does anyone want to go back full time at the office?
No. We did a little bit straight after that first initial, but we delayed it. It's still, we said, oh, well, we'll go in next week. And then next week would roll around and we go, oh, no, we'll go in next week. And what we found is that we were more efficient just working at home. But anyway, what did I think of COVID? Look, New Zealand was really unique. My opinion of it was that the response of our government was outstanding. They said, you're locked down. And they said, businesses, we're going to pay you per employee that you've got on an amount of money so that you can survive through the next few weeks without trading. Now, no joke, I filled in a form, and I think I filled it in on Sunday night, and on Tuesday morning, I had over 50 grand in my bank account.
You're kidding.
No. And
so that was one of the secrets she did.
Yeah, it was totally. So what happened is it just took the whole tension off having to worry about going and making sales, having to go and wait. Now, we were in a very enviable position because I still had lots of businesses. And it wasn't like I was, they were paying me thousands of dollars in rent. They're paying me a few $100. So it was a payment they could keep continuing and paying for. So we all thought that the world was going to cave in and what would happen, but the opposite happened to everything that we thought. We had a boom here in New Zealand. All of a sudden, the people that spent tens of thousands of dollars every year traveling started buying, bikes and cars and decks and new kitchens and spa pools and consumer electronics and new furniture. And the money that normally would flow out of our country stayed in for the next couple of years.
And that was the difference.
And that has helped our economy here. Now, I'm not saying there's not some. Hospitality really struggled. But what was really, really, really interesting is that the successful hospitality businesses have done okay. And the ones that were on the edge at the start, so if they'd just started the business, if they were overextended and were carrying too much debt, then they were the ones that toppled because they just didn't have that kind of capital to be able to pull from. So, and we had a major earthquake here in about 2010. That was quite a very significant event. And what we found is the same thing, is that most businesses kept operating. So the hospitality businesses that were struggling, they just went and creatively started delivering food, selling it through a hole. They just figured out how, or they pivoted and they used their kitchens to do other things. So with the government's response and with, really, we didn't struggle. What we did, so.
You didn't have to change your marketing pitch, nothing?
No, the only thing I did was that I just started having meetings in Zoom.
Yep.
So that year we still made the same amount of new sales pretty much.
Yep.
Last year, so that was the first year. The second year was a bit down last year. 2021 was down. We have doubled the sales from what we did last year.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, so it was a slow gradual. There was no, and I knew that was happening. People, business owners did get a little bit tight, but it wasn't fatal to most businesses.
It's funny though, because you talk to a lot of people, and a lot of it depends on the government. Like here, we had 16 hours notice because we had our company ball on the Saturday, and we found out during the company ball the country's going to be locked down. We had 90 people to make home base by the Monday morning. So we had jeepneys flying everywhere, computers everywhere, right? We had to buy these Wi-Fi things for $100, you name it. And we were 100% on our own, right? Because it's the Philippines, it's a third world country, and but what we found was a struggle for us was our kids, they're kids and they're great on a chat, they're great on email, but all of a sudden we all had to get in front of a camera and start doing Zoom. That was a struggle. They are so used to our family culture, and all of a sudden everyone's alone.
Yes.
So we had to do more and more Zoom meetings to lift people up and all that sort of stuff. Team building was done via Zoom. Customer-wise, we were pretty blessed that we didn't lose any. Yeah. Sales-wise, we didn't lose any. Yeah. The only tough part for us was we had no help whatsoever. Yes. And that was hard. And to keep the kids pumped, all right? Business-wise, we did a bit of a shift. Like when Australia went down, that's okay because we were doing business in America. And when America went a bit quiet, that's okay. We were doing business in the UK. When UK went a bit quiet, Australia lifted up. So we did this round robin of business. But listening to what you say, the major difference is how the government's reacted. I mean, she copped a lot of flack internationally. How can you lock that country down for so long and blah, blah, blah. But you're the first one to tell me the internal story, right? And I get it. So really, for you, there was no technically bad news about COVID, right?
Look, here's the thing, is that, yes, there was a lot of media reports about, how could you lock down and everything, but that was the media. When they surveyed, when I took 90+% of people in New Zealand, we just did what we had to do, and we cracked on.
Is that a Kiwi thing?
Yep.
Are you like that normally?
Yeah, we're all like that. Yeah, we just go, we don't get all upset and go and demonstrate. We just, for fuck's sake, you just get on with it. You just go, okay, it's a bit shit, let's get on with it. I always love our TV news here, when there's a big flood, and you go into the real rural New Zealand and they're interviewing the farmers, and they interview the farmer, and his whole farm's been flooded and he's lost thousands of stock. And, here he is, grizzly guy, hasn't brushed his hair for 2 weeks, he's got a couple of weeks of growth on his face, and, he's got a bit of a smile on his face. And I go, so tell me, Bob, how do you feel about, your farm being flooded? And he goes, well, mate, it's a bit of a bugger, you just get on with it. The dog's got a bit wet, but, she's right. We'll be all right. That's just the attitude,
That's a New Zealand attitude.
You just be stoic and just get over it. Nobody wants to listen to you drivel on about, we're all affected. I know different people. I know there was some business friends of mine that were, absolutely, they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they lost a lot. But we all have. We went through pain too. And like, a lot of finance, not massive, not fatal, but yes. And so that's just being in business. And that's
I think a lot of people it's like what you said about the restaurants. There was a lot of guys whinging and complaining, oh, my life is over. But there was other blokes said, well, hang on a minute, I'm going to get a motorbike and start delivering stuff. Or here, Food Panda delivery, bloody Grab delivery went out of control. And all of a sudden you had people making food in their house and delivering it. Right? So, but maybe it's like with the New Zealanders, it's like, I always describe it as like a big country town.
Yeah, we are.
Right?
We really are.
And I think that's the attitude. Aussies used to have that attitude. But it seems to be, we had that she'll be right attitude. But all of a sudden it's like, oh, she'll be right, but maybe, I don't know. And, a bit of the Aussies, a lot of them were about to give up, and it was sad. And I'll probably get flogged to death for saying that. My family will shoot me, disown me.
Okay. Yeah, well, I was just about to throw Auckland under the bus there. North of the Bombay Hills, we're thinking about, actually, cutting that off and just calling that the East.
So it's Christchurch or bust.
Australia. Yeah, that's right.
East mate. See, Auckland is Australia.
Yeah, right? That's right. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask another question now. Do you have like a niche market, or it's anybody?
It's really interesting. What we found, I started the company, was just going to build websites for anybody. Then we really got with understanding that I looked at all of my customers. I had about 100, and I went through them. This was early days in the first couple of years. And I looked at the customers and I ranked them, ease of use, how hard were they, difficult to serve, all of those, all of those sort of, and it was really interesting. We call them the busy blue collar business owner.
Yeah.
And that's your plumbers, your electricians, and your builders, and the trade services. And they were fantastic because, one, they didn't know my trade. They would admit, yeah, look, I'm not a marketer, mate. I'm a builder. You just crack on and do whatever, Alex. So they were.
That's a good point, eh? That's a good point.
They turned over good money. So, most of them are quite profitable. They've got good businesses. There's demand for builders, electricians, and plumbers all the time. So they're not really doing anything green. What do we call it? Like greenfield, where it's new or anything. They just servicing the local community. So they have good work. They make reasonable money. and $100 to $150 a month for their website, they don't even notice that.
No.
You know, it's not a big, so they're not going to ring me up and go, hey, what am I paying this money for? They just don't. So they were easy. They paid their bills. Generally, they paid their bills, easy to work with. And ultimately, one of the things with a trade service, they don't have a retail operation. They don't have a showroom. They have a lockup. They may not even have that. They may just have a fleet of vehicles out there. So they needed, so there was a high need for a website. So, and we found the same, but less so for professional services. So that's your accountants and your lawyers and your engineers. Now, they had offices, but they typically weren't retail either. They needed a good website because they were they didn't want people just wandering in willy-nilly into the lawyers and saying, hey, I want to see a lawyer. You know, they want to field a phone call and make an appointment and all the rest. So we found trade services to be really so that's why we're big boy digital. If you have a look at our branding today, it looks more, you know, it's not so, you know, upper class and attractive to,
it's a Ripple logo.
It's just a cool logo, like your one. You know, it's got, you know, it's
I've got
like
a camel, mate.
Yeah.
And like, I love him. And his name's Jeffrey and he's bloody sexy. And, you know, it's really funny though, because I go on about secret sauce that, you know, you've got to have a secret sauce. When people say, what's the, you know, the key to success? Well, what's your secret sauce? Other people call it their elevator pitch. That's to me is bullshit, right? What is it about you that's different? You just, even J-Mar was nodding his head when you were talking. I've never heard that said before, that your secret sauce when it comes to butchers, bakers, candlestick makers, plumbers, electricians, all these dudes, they don't want to build websites, mate. No. They want to fix block dunnies.
Yes.
They want to fix up melted wires on air conditioners. They want to, you know, hammer nails. And they just want people to call them on that mobile phone and make an appointment, come round. I've got a problem, my dunny's overflowing. And maybe there's a snake stuck in it or something, who knows, right? But normally people chase these businesses with what I call art gallery websites and Wikipedia content.
Oh, very good.
And I tell them, don't do that. But you nailed it, mate. Go to places that they might even have a pimply case buddy cousin or nephew that can build them one, but they don't want to mess with that either.
No. Well, they've often built the one with the cousin and now it's fallen over.
Yeah. Well, that was my next question to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you go to these people, and you might do it by a phone first, I don't know if you're I love talking to people on the, you know, I don't like sending off bloody proposals and all that sort of stuff, right? Don't care how big they are. I like to have a yarn.
Yep.
So when you first start talking to the average plumber, electrician, butcher, baker, whatever, what would be the two things you think, oh, gee, no wonder you're not getting calls? What are the two things that stand out to you, business-wise?
So about two things, like, so about their website or about their business?
Website, business.
Okay. One of the things, they often come to me thinking the website is going to be an ad that'll get them work, and it's not. It's a showroom. So, you know, we've developed a sales process that we go through, or an onboarding. It's actually a workshop. It's a marketing workshop. That's what we call it. Wow. So I go through, there's two reasons that I go through it, and it can take anywhere between an hour and a half and 3 hours to go through it. And what it's there for is for two things. One, it's to manage their expectations around what actually is their website and what it's going to do for them. Because if you don't manage that expectation up front, what you'll end up doing is getting you'll build the website and they'll ring you back 6 months and they'll go, hey, nobody's ringing me up, you know, and then you've got to go, well, actually, no, that's a showroom and it's not there. It's not. So now we're going to talk about how we're going to get traffic to website, blah, 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 on and on. We do that up front. The second thing is that what we do is that we're very good and we've got to bring them on the marketing journey.
Yep.
So, because they'll often come into me and they'll usually think they need to tell me what they need on their website.
Okay.
And so what do through a process of inquiry, I get them to see they actually don't need to know it. We know it. What they need to tell us is what do they want the website to do for their business, then we'll go and build it. So, and with that strategy, we've been able to take our average website sale, or say 3-year life value of a website, from about $2,500 to now we're averaging probably $6,000-7,000.
Wow.
Not only that, but we also have been able to solve the copywriting.
Wow.
So, because most people really, really, really struggle with it. Don't get me wrong, we still struggle with it. I have like 3 copywriters. The copywriters are hard to find, they're hard to motivate, they're hard to compensate. But you know, we've got that not down pat, but we've got it probably better than anybody.
And you do that as part of, you don't just design the website, you don't design all their content.
Yep. Got it. So one of the things that we found out about websites is that most people come and they think that their website has to tell the visitor at the website what they do. And so what we do is we cleverly convince them and get them to see, well, actually, they're already on your website. They've already decided they need a plumber. What the hell are you trying to sell them plumbing services? Get off that. What they're there for is they want to find out, well, how good are you? How much do you charge? Can you come today? Will you do a good job? And so they want that. So what do you say to them? So when we have a look at it, you know, often I have a question halfway through, and it's a great one. And this is what leads into how what I really want them to understand. I say, what's the most impressive thing about your business? And I won't ask you, Shane, because very few people know. And most people come back and they say, oh, it's the great service, it's my technique, or it's my talent, or it's my skills. And I go, okay. And you got to be careful, because this can be dangerous. You don't want to make them look stupid. I always actually press, I say, I know the answer to this, and most people don't get it. And they go, okay, tell me, what is it? And I go, how many clients have you done work for? How many have you done? And then who have you done it for? And our story is, you know what, the most impressive thing about our organizations is not what we do, but it's how many people we've done it for. If we've done it for thousands of people, right, we've built over 1,000 websites. Is that impressive? Fuck yeah. You know, you've probably built 10,000 because you're huge. Is that impressive?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Shit. Yeah. Then the next thing is who you've built them for. You know, I've built a website for Apple computers. I've built one for Steve Jobs. I've built one for, you know, Bill Gates. I've built one for, you know, I don't even know who the Prime Minister of Australia is because they change them every 10 minutes. But, you know, same with the UK, man. You know.
Oh, UK's unreal.
Oh,
keep going, brother. You're preaching. I'm going. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy.
No. So they go, well, it's and I said, you know, and so the thing is if you have a look at a website, most people put their testimonials on a page. We have it buried in most sections of a website. This is what we would prefer to do. We have a whole page of them. So when you go on there and you're scrolling through all the reviews, we make sure we have pull quotes on each one of the testimonials or the reviews, so that scanners can just get so they're catching the vibe of the company. And if it's somebody famous or well known, you know, logo walls, if you're a business and you deal with other businesses, you know, it's just that stuff should be right up front, man. You need to just get that. So people go, everybody wants to deal with a winner. You know? And so then, and I say, and then there's a third thing. So there's the volume. So we need to get lots of testimonials. Then there's who you've done it for. If we've done it for some good people, that'll be great. And we'll turn those into endorsements almost. And then the last one is complexity of what you do. And this has been wonderful. And it's case studies. And case studies are a wonderful thing because they talk about who you do it for, what the problem is that you're doing it for, how you solving the problem. So we have a real simple template for that. And I'll tell you, I'll give you all my secrets of what we do. So, and it's a really case studies are what was the problem, what did you do, and then what was the result.
Awesome.
And that's the formula. So with that, I'd say 80% of people go, in fact, I'd say almost 100% of my sales meetings end up in one or all forms of social proof. So we now sell a service where we will collect testimonials. We've got very clever questions that we ask so that we can get so we're not only doing collecting testimonials, we're also getting from the horse's mouth. So if I was doing it for you, Shane, I'd be ringing your clients and we'd be asking varying questions about, your business and what gave you confidence and all that. So one, we get this great testimonial for you. Second thing, we get market intelligence.
Yeah.
We get to understand the triggers that have people start looking for you. We have the barriers and the concerns that need to be answered, and we have the hooks. What do you do to get the business? Because these are your clients, or these are our clients, so they're being sold. And then the final thing is that we get a testimonial for the website. So we've got all of this stuff. Then we just ring the client and we interview them and get case studies, transcribe them and put them in. And we've got these case studies, and we've been able to charge hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get this content. So once we've got testimonials, we've done the case studies, then we write the body copy. And we have things, we've got tools, things like the features to benefits, sort of so you can look at all the features and convert them into benefits. We have things like the wheel of persuasion, where we're taking a client on a journey. So they're just little processes,
Yep.
And so then so we can write great sales pages. We are absolutely not a fan of a guy called, and he's, what's his name? He runs a company in America, in North America. He's involved with our CMS, the one we use today. Really good. What's his name? Andy from Orbit. And
Orbit.
Yes, from Orbit Design. And Andy is his last. Can't remember his second name. Anyway, we think he's just absolutely fabulous. So that's so with that. So we've still got our no money up front. So what I do is I say, hey, look, well, what was your budget for building a website? They say, about $3,000. And I say, hey, do you know what's great? You can spend $3,000 on getting great market research, testimonials, write some original case studies for your organization, write some compelling copy with a qualified copywriter, and the website might only cost you $100, $150 a month, and you don't have to spend all your money up front. So we have a sort of a catchphrase: spend your money on what matters. And what matters? The key phrases, the content.
I love it.
The biggest challenge that all designers and web companies have is that the client, if you can't write content, and writing content is really hard. Still hard for us. Really, really, really hard.
Yeah, but I think what you've done, I asked you that question and you've answered it beautifully, is what are the two things? Well, the first one is they want you to build a website. I always say we don't build websites, we build customer attraction programs.
Yeah, right? Very good. Oh,
and the next thing is they want to have Wikipedia, which is,
everything.
You ask that big question. So the first one is they have no idea that they don't need a website. They need a customer attraction program or a window to the opportunities as they give to the world. And the second one is why should they buy it off you? Give them all the reasons. They are on your website because they've got a block dunny. Now you've got to tell them why you're the best in the world for them to book or buy you.
Yes.
So many of them they go through all this waffle. Me, I'm the greatest bragger of all time because I'm competing against, in my little thing, I'm competing against companies that are worth $300-400 million.
Yes.
So I brag like you would not believe because that's my way of winning. And that's why I got a camel.
Yes.
And that's why I do stupid TikTok videos, because that's what makes me different. And
Yes.
it's the same in what I'm blown away by the fact of the way you put it all together, because so many of them, mate, they miss the point. Why should someone book or buy off you?
Well, and I mean, the challenge that we have, because I'll be, transparent is that what's really, nobody comes to us for the thing that's the most important, which is the social proof, the evidence, the demonstration of a client's success and their performance, right? Which is case studies and testimonials and logo walls and qualifications and awards and all of those things, right? They don't, they usually come to me and they're more concerned about the look and the feel and, will you have scrolly galleries and those things are not the most important. So the biggest challenge I have is what we do is not necessarily the thing they look for out there.
No.
So, but that's just that's our business challenges.
But how many websites have you seen that are an absolute art gallery Picasso, but there's not one call to action on the entire website?
Oh, most I would say when I look at them, and they've got two things. They've got walls of words, and so if you've got to read a website, it's a fail. That's the first thing, because people are too busy today. We all know there's the attention deficit syndrome out there. We're all afflicted by it.
Yep.
So there's that. And the second thing is that they want to try and tell everybody everything. And again, ultimately, why should I even call you?
Yeah, because I'm bored shitless, right? And you're not answering me why I should, right? And away you go. And I tell people, never design a website for you.
Yes.
Design it for the customers. It was crazy. We're on the home stretch, mate. Got two more great questions for you.
Okay.
Now we're going to go away from business for a second.
Whew.
Right? Now you've been invited. How old's your daughter now? 20?
20, yep.
Okay.
She's almost 20.
Go back to when she was 10.
Yep.
And you got invited to the school,
and
they put you on the stage in front of all the other 10-year-olds, and they've said, mate, you're a very successful businessman. You also, you've won the Tour de Backyard 8 times without steroids. Right? I'm saying that because Alex is a cyclist, right? So 8 times. What's his name? What was his name?
7 times Lance Armstrong.
Without steroids. But anyway, they got you up in front of the crowd and they've said, sir, you have to give 2 great things for these kids to go out there and be life-changing. What are the 2 things you recommend them to do in their lives that in the future things are going to be bright and rosy? What are the 2 motivating tips you give these 10-year-olds? That's making you think, isn't it?
Mate, yeah, because I've got like a book worth of things.
I know, but I only want 2.
Yep. Push the door open.
Wow.
No matter what. Push the next door open. You don't know. And then you'll open to a door. And then you push that door. Awesome. Because you know what? You think about us. Did you think that you would have what you have and be where you are right now when you were 10?
No.
I thought I was going to be a bloody astronaut,
Oh, mate.
I didn't even know that when I left school at 18. I was driving around. I can remember driving around the farm. I was around this paddock, with the discs on the back, preparing it to be sown out.
The saddest part about it, why I ask about 10-year-olds, can you see the shit that 10-year-olds are taught nowadays?
Well, I can see that the dilemma they have in the world that they've been
Nothing preparing them for the world. Nothing.
Well, so that's the first one. I'd say just push the door open.
Push the door open. Second one.
Follow your passion of that day.
Amen. Follow your passion. Totally agree with that. The greatest things I've ever done in my life was when I followed my passion.
Yes.
You know, where I just said, I'm going to do that. Even this, you know,
Yes.
I said, this is my passion. And even when I was doing motivational speaking and, you know, I had a passion to speak, just speak in front of an Australian Football League team. And I ended up doing the motivation for 2 years, right? I wanted to be in front of 5,000 people. And I ended up doing that on the Great Wall of China, standing above 5,000 people and doing a motivation session. And the one thing that ran through my head was, Anthony Robbins has not done this. I have.
Yeah.
Right? And I just was so passionate. And that has opened so many doors. But I had to put my hand on that bloody handle.
Yes.
So I like that. Last question. I got a tattoo, right? No one sees it apart from my wife and the girl that massages me every Saturday, right? And it's up here. And that tattoo is very, very special to me because it reminds me the reason I did it, it was something I did that was going to be the greatest thing that ever happened to me or the biggest reminder never to do that again. All right. And it's there and it's got 2 words. I'll just keep it to myself what they are. If you were to have a tattoo on your right shoulder and your left shoulder with 2 words that really motivate you, what would the tattoo say?
Never quit.
Never quit.
Never quit. I learned this in because I cycle race, you know, and I'm really into it. And every time I've quit, I quit before my body quit.
Wow.
You know, I gave up mentally before. Yeah. You know, and not every time, but I would say 90% of the times. So so what happens in a bike race? A bike race sort of rolls up. Like I'm doing one next week. It's 1,000 Ks. It's the New Zealand's pro race. It's 7-day stage tour, 150 Ks a day. I'm the second oldest in there. I'm competing with guys a third of my age, but I'm not competing with them. I'm just there to finish. It will be brutal for me. It will be brutal for everybody there, even the pros. Anyway, when you're in the race, and what I've noticed is that the race surges ahead and the good guys will get out the front and attack. And it is brutally hard and you are chewing the handlebars. And you've just got to keep chewing the handlebars because guess what? At some stage, they will stop. Yeah. And then they'll rest up. And
do you reckon?
And then you go, I'm still there. But if you give up, you're out the back, out of the game.
So in business or life, do you think it's always that when you think, I'm stuffed, I can't do this anymore, you can go that little bit more?
Yes.
And do you reckon that's the difference between the champions?
Okay. Well, as an example, I think it's it's one of the things, and I don't know whether I learned that, whether I picked it up, but, you know, there's just something, you know, like, I mean, I liquidated a company in 2007, myself and Joey, we both ended up going absolutely bankrupt. We lost everything. We lost all of our property. All we had was a 15-year-old car. We had 3 kids and we were renting, right? And we'd lost everything. And I and myself and my wife just share this. And anyway, when you go bankrupt in New Zealand, you've got to get special permission to keep running a business.
Sure.
Well, because it was the way we were the liquidation and the bankruptcy was around a business failure. It wasn't because we'd spent too much on our credit cards. You know, the people that were in charge of that, they just said, I said, hey, look, here's our case. This is how we're going to make money. And they said, we can see the case. You can run a business. And that was the business that I started running a business the day we failed. The worst thing that could happen to most people, I was out there banging on doors, finding new customers. So that's the sort of person.
That's where we got the name of the Camel, because I was there. I just lost the biggest deal of all time. I'd had the worst day. I had $75 in my pocket. It was shocking. Yeah. Mate of mine called me and said, Hodgie, what's wrong? I said, I've had, I think, the straw that broke the camel's back.
Oh, wow.
She said to me, what a great name for a business. I spent the $75 to register the name and started knocking on doors to sell things. On that note, my friend Alex Mann, we are done. I can tell you, you know what I've learned today? Mate, I'm 63 and I've been selling all my life, but I learned something today. I love the way you described basically these people have no idea. You're not buying a website. You're buying what's, you know, your shop front of your world and what's great about you. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love your attitude, never give up. I loved your spirit, man. I just love talking to you today. And I know in my heart, the best part about it is lots of other people are going to love it too. So, Alex, I thank you so much, mate. I've loved this hour.
You know what, Shane? I agree. And I've really, really enjoyed, I've enjoyed today and I enjoy your relationship as well. And I feel privileged to be and know somebody like you. So it's fantastic. And thank you very much for today. I've enjoyed it.
It was good fun.
Best hour ever.
Oh, awesome. Now make sure you go. Big boy. You know, I was a bit worried you're going to say that was about your anatomy or something, mate. I was a bit worried.
So is it off? Now we're off.
We're off, son.
Hey, Shane, that was brilliant, buddy. Hey,
thanks, mate.
You know, God, you're so good. You know, I will, you know, I've just stuck a job through to Jerry. And so, you know, it'll take some refinement, I think, get our systems. That's why it's taken me a wee bit longer. Well, I've been preparing for this tour. In fact, you know, I'm just about to go now. I've just got to run around. I've got to go pick up my bikes. I've had them at the mechanic and I've got to come back and take the son off to karate. And then I'm off out racing tonight. Last race, local race here. So, and I'm going to be very careful. I don't want to crash 2 days out from a major.
Mate, so what brand of bike do you ride?
I've got what's called a Villier. Yeah. It's Willier, Willier. It's Italian. I've had about 3 of them, I think. So yeah. I just, you know, but it's a typical road bike. Hard seat, hard tires.
Oh, mate, you're a legend. Go have fun.
You're a legend. I'm gonna cruise out, and I'll come back to you in a week or so.
All right, buddy.
But yeah, look, appreciate it.
It was fun.
Hey, and share this channel. I don't even know. Is it on Facebook page or something like that?
No, we got a YouTube, the Camel on TheCamel.co on YouTube. But what happens with this? This gets shared right through all our social media, all of the Do to Support community, all of LinkedIn, and then what happens is other people share. But I only started it. How long ago? Month. Right, about a month ago, and now I've got people booked like you wouldn't believe, because I didn't want it just about bloody doodle websites. I want to talk about, I love stories, you know?
Yeah.
And I want to motivate people who are just like us, you know? And like I had Marcy Bryant, who's huge in the US, and she's an agency with Duda. And mate, she almost got arrested by the FBI. when she first started selling. Like, what a story, right?
Wow.
Right?
Look, I'm going to go and subscribe to your channel.
Oh, mate,
I'll
get
be
on
one
there.
fan.
Christy Giovanni, who only sells to, what are they, car detailers, right? And he's got like 500,000 zillion bloody websites. He's killing it. But he's a lot like you, but he's from Milwaukee, right?
Wow.
And I'm finding it really easy to get people on.
Oh, look,
So,
I think it sounds really good.
Hey,
Because not only that, these are people that are like us. They're doing the
just
same
us,
stuff.
mate. Just normal, everyday people that never know how to give up. I have no idea how to give up. It's not in my vocabulary. You know, like I had my accident and I was fucked, right? 5 broken ribs, broken shoulder, smashed internals. Mate, I was working 5 days later in the sling. Love you, mate. Gotta go.
Go. See you, buddy.
See ya. Hey, everybody. It's Shane from TheCamel.co, and I'm here with Jeffrey. And I just want to put a quick word out. Do you know that this video is one of hundreds of videos that are available on the Camel channel? And what are the videos? There's videos on how to sell. There's videos on how to market. There's videos on how to make something. We do a great curry. You name it, we got videos about it. And we've also got a lot of videos about the special offers that the Camel has. So it's not just this thing that you're seeing now. It's a lot of information, a lot of services. You want to know more? Just click on the subscribe button. That way you don't have to search. It automatically comes to your inbox. You do that. Have a great day. From me, Jeffrey, talk to you soon. See ya.